John Cena has officially retired from the WWE. He wrestled his final match tonight. In his farewell, John Cena did the honors by putting over his last opponent, Gunther. It was an emotional night as this marked an end of an era that shaped the WWE for an entire generation of fans. I still remember exactly where I was when John Cena made his debut in 2002 on an edition of SmackDown where he answered Kurt Angle's open challenge. Now, I'll never forget where I was when he said his final goodbye to the fans. WWE originally wanted this show to be a full 2-hour tribute for John Cena, but he pushed for the spotlight to also go to others, including NXT talents. So, in honor of John Cena, let's talk about this entire show. Saturday night's main event took place tonight in Washington, D.C. at Capital One Arena. First, let's start off with the countdown show. They showed a whole bunch of fans waiting outside in the freezing cold outside of Capital One Arena. Then they show Shawn Michaels and Johnny Gargano talking by ringside. That was one of the first shots we saw of the whole night. WWE then aired a GOAT video package that they produced. It was narrated by Triple H. They show Gunther, Cody Rhodes, Mark Henry, and Triple H all arriving. And of course, this is when they first show Gunther. When they showed him later in the broadcast, he got massive heat, but we'll get to that later. Joe Tessitore, Wade Barrett, and Big E are all on the panel outside. There was a massive balloon of John Cena displayed, which I thought looked great. They show Jackie Redmond outside of John Cena's locker room, and there was actually a cardboard cutout of him, which I liked. Byron Saxton, backstage, he interviewed Chelsea Green, and then Jackie Redmond interviews Shawn Michaels. Then, the one and only Jesse the Body Ventura joins the panel. He had a lot to say. They showed Kurt Angle arriving, and of course, Kurt was John Cena's first opponent. And I had to mention this because on one of the video packages that they aired, they interviewed Stu the cameraman, and he said, I have this whole quote, and he, of course, he's talking about John Cena, but he says, "I don't know how to repay the man. I'm going to miss him immensely." That tells you how close John Cena and Stu are. Really feel bad for Stu not seeing John Cena and knowing, man, you're never going to get to that entrance ever again. Tonight was the last time. On the panel, Jesse Ventura, I said he had a lot to say. He did. He delivers a line only he could. He had to just say, if John Cena won the belt 17 times, that means he must have lost it 17 times. Yes, Jesse, we get it. On the pre-show, Jesse actually revealed his Mount Rushmore of WWE. He mentioned his good friend, Hulk Hogan. Him and Hogan were very close. Then he mentions The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and John Cena. It's kind of weird hearing Jesse talk about this because he mentions The Rock first, but I don't think he realizes that Stone Cold became the big star before The Rock did, and that just shows that he really wasn't following wrestling during the Attitude Era, and that probably means he didn't follow it during the Ruthless Aggression Era, through the PG era. He's been away for a long time, and it shows. They show Trish Stratus arriving, and then they played that heartfelt farewell tribute video that I mentioned on the SmackDown review last night. It was so well done. It's actually my favorite video they've done in a while. I loved it. I've seen it multiple times. And they actually aired it a second time during the broadcast. And I'll talk about everyone who was in it when we get to that, which was right before the main event. That shows you that they really thought highly of it because that was the final one they aired before the match. On the panel, Sami Zayn talked about his history with John Cena. There was this "if Cena taps, we riot" sign. That didn't really happen tonight. But that just reminded me because I wrote that down. Almost 20 years ago at the infamous ECW One Night Stand show at the Hammerstein Ballroom, There was the infamous "If Cena wins, we riot" sign, so nice play on that. Triple H joined the panel to cheers this time. That was not the reception he would get later in the night on the post show. We'll get to that later. They showed various celebrities showing praise and tribute to John Cena. Throughout the night, we saw both Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, Tom Brady, some of the late show hosts, Jimmy Fallon, a whole bunch of people that are prominent paying their tributes to Cena. Byron Saxton interviewed Trish Stratus. She was decked out wearing a John Cena hat. Then we go to the crowd outside of the panel, and that's when R-Truth appeared, and he begins to rap in front of the live crowd, singing "What's Up?" But he changes the lyrics to praise John Cena, and there was a line that says, "If you love John Cena, say what's up." What's up? I'm saying that too. What's up, Truth? We all love John Cena, man. We all do, man. The fans all love John Cena, and they showed it tonight with their reactions to the ending, and that just shows you how much they like him, or how much they love him. Really, that just shows with that reaction. But as I said, we'll talk about what happened and the reactions much later in the review. So Truth joined the panel, and then they talked to him about Cena. They aired a really good Michael Cole video in which he talked about John Cena. He pays tribute to him, and they were comparing him to other announcers and their relationship with the top guy, calling their matches. Gordon Soley with Dusty Rhodes, and then Jim Ross with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then Michael Cole with John Cena. Then they go to the ring. Michael Cole is there, and he formally thanks John Cena. Really praising him, saying he wouldn't be there without him. And I thought to myself, I've thought this for a while, if John Cena is going into the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 42 in Vegas in a few months, if that's what they're going to do, maybe Stephanie is going to be the headliner, I don't know. But if John Cena is going into the Hall of Fame, the person who should induct him is Michael Cole. The only one I can think of that would make sense other than Cole is Stephanie McMahon, but she's already going in. I think Michael Cole would be the perfect guy to induct John Cena. I think there's no one better other than Stephanie, but she's already going in. They air a video where you have a whole bunch of people, showing their respects, thanking John Cena, Kurt Angle, Bayley, Rey Mysterio, Charlotte Flair, Jey Uso, Stephanie McMahon, and CM Punk, all praising John Cena, thanking him. Jackie Redmond interviewed this cameraman that you might have heard of. His name is Stu. She interviews him on the ramp, and he doesn't say much this time. He says John is a great guy, and he doesn't get much time, but you can tell he wants to say a lot more, but I bet he was very emotional. And then Jackie interviews Stephanie McMahon, who makes her entrance. She got a big pop. She brings up the rap story on the bus on the European tour. Then she praises his work with Make-A-Wish, and then they play a video on it, and we get to see a lot of highlights of him interacting with Make-A-Wish kids, but they focus on two stories. One was a kid who we interacted with at the Royal Rumble this year, and the other one was one who passed away. He was actually from Africa, and he loved John Cena so much. His whole room was decked out on John Cena, and Cena couldn't meet the kid, but he did do a video to him. He sent a video to him, and the kid did pass away, which was really sad. So much tributes to. When they showed that I got teary-eyed watching that. It just shows you he just takes so much time out of his day. He doesn't have to, and he just always, man, what a great guy. All that stuff he did with Make-A-Wish, and I'm glad that was featured here because that's such an integral part of his career, his life, and who he is. He's granted more Make-A-Wishes than anyone in history. And no one really comes close to his tally count. The second is Hulk Hogan, and he's done a lot too. But Cena's. It's incredible the amount. No one is close, and the number of wishes he's granted over the years. They show Booker T and Rob Van Dam arriving, both of them with long histories with John Cena. especially earlier in his career as a top guy. In the arena, Biggie, Jesse Ventura, and Joe Tessitore on the panel, this time inside the building. They show Sam Roberts and Megan Morant interviewing The Miz backstage. He's upset he didn't get to wrestle John Cena on his retirement tour. He walks off, and this would not be the last time we'd hear of him tonight. Byron Saxon interviewed CM Punk backstage. He, of course, praises John Cena. And then they show us a John Cena and Randy Orton video package highlighting their classic rivalry over the years, which I still believe Randy Orton is John Cena's best rival and his most probably the person John Cena is most associated with his career is Randy Orton because they came up together. And of course, Randy couldn't be at the show because they just, for whatever reason, they scheduled him for media tonight and had to be in Saudi Arabia. I mean, they couldn't schedule it any other time, so he couldn't make it tonight. And he wasn't the only one. I believe Liv Morgan and Tiffany Stratton were there as well. So a lot of people just couldn't be there because they had to do media for Saudi Arabia because they're doing the Rumble this year and WrestleMania. Actually, the Rumble this year, and what I mean about a couple months, a month actually, and then WrestleMania 43. So that's why Randy Orton, John Cena's greatest rival and the person I said he's most associated with his whole career, couldn't be there. They show more celebrities, including John Cena's fellow GOAT from Boston, and I still do believe this show should have taken place in Boston, but they did show Tom Brady praising John Cena. I'm sure that meant a lot to him, as Cena is from there. He's from West Newbury, Massachusetts, so obviously he was a big Patriots fan, a big Brady fan. Then all the panelists paid their final respects, and a lot of them just named their favorite moments of the year of John Cena, this retirement tour, their favorite moments of what happened this year. I don't know what my favorite moment was. I think one thing I liked was back at SummerSlam when he came out, and it's the John Cena where it's like the black screen with the white letters, and he's a heel. But instead it goes to the colors, and we get the classic John Cena color scheme, and that really signified that his heel turn was officially over and babyface John Cena was back. Then Lillian Garcia sang the national anthem, and then Saturday night's main event, the official show, began. We get a GOAT video package that I mentioned earlier. It was narrated by Triple H. That's what opened the show. Then we get opening pyro for a sold-out show. Over 19,000 people in attendance. They show wrestlers and other matches arriving. So all the wrestlers that we would see in the matches that didn't involve John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Femi, Bayley, Ruca, AJ Styles, and Dragon Lee, Javon Evans, and Leon Slater. And then at the end, they show Gunther, and boy, did I mention that earlier when they showed him earlier on the pre-show. But now in front of the live crowd, when they showed Gunther, he got massive heat, and I realized, that's going to be really bad if he wins tonight. Joe Tessitore and Stephanie McMahon are on the panel. She praises John Cena. Then she does the DX, "Are You Ready?" to start the show. That's when Cody Rhodes' music hits. Femi comes out next. So John Cena did not open up the show on his retirement show. Are you kidding me? I mean, you had people on the internet, prominent journalists, and I say that with, with captions, journalists, I don't know. But they're telling us John Cena's going to open the show tonight. No, he was closing the show. Of course he was. I mean, who would care about any other matches if John Cena started the show, especially with what happened in the main event? Yeah, no one would have given a shit about the other three matches that would have had to follow. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, Michael Cole and Wade Barrett were on commentary for tonight. We get our opener, Cody Rhodes and Femi. Oba gets the heat early on. Oba hit a really good running uppercut onto Cody, and he went crashing into the announce table, which didn't break, but what happened was Cody got busted open badly on his ear from landing on the table, and it showed. He was bleeding bad. I mean, it was almost gushing blood, and it looked bad. I'm surprised that they didn't stop it to clean up the cut, because it was he got cut pretty bad. Then what happens is Drew McIntyre jumps in the ring. He attacks Cody Rhodes, and he calls it a disqualification. I assume Cody gets the win because he attacked Cody, so Oba's disqualified. But Drew is beating up Cody. Then Oba stands up to him. He drags Drew off of him. Cody hits a Cody cutter on Drew. Then Femi hits the choke slam. And then both Cody and Oba acknowledge each other. Both of them raise their respective title belts. They show John Cena's locker room. They didn't show him in it, but by then we know he's there. Then they play a video with celebrities paying tribute to John Cena. So many of them, so much to name. I can't name them all. They promote WrestleMania 42. I believe this was the male promo with the man at the casino. Then they play a video with Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Bayley, Rey Mysterio, Charlotte Flair, Jey Uso, Stephanie McMahon, and CM Punk, who was visibly crying at the end. I had to say, Punk was very emotional. All of them thanking John Cena. They list John Cena's accomplishments with the graphics: 17-time world champion, 5-time U.S. champion, 1-time Intercontinental champion, 4-time tag team champion, and a 2-time Royal Rumble winner. They show us more celebrities in the crowd. Then Bayley was out next with Lyra Valkyria. Bayley actually hugged Trish Stratus and Eve Torres, who were sitting at ringside. And then Sol Ruca came out with Zarya. And we get our second matchup, Bayley versus Sol Ruca. So we actually got a red, white, and blue color scheme for the ropes because the show took place in the United States Capitol. This was really a showcase for Sol Ruca. She did a cartwheel flip dive to the outside. She dominated early on. She actually kicked out of the Bayley to belly. Sol survived a rose plant by getting her foot on the rope. Eventually, Sol Ruca hits the Soul Snatcher, but Bayley drapes outside of the ring, so she's kind of on the outside, but the top of her body's in and her feet are on the outside. So Sol drags her in, but then Bayley does a roll-up, and it looks like, oh, it's over. Bayley's going to win. But then Sol reverses the roll-up and pins Bayley 1, 2, 3 and gets the win. This was a big win for Sol Ruca after the sequence of roll-ups. She gets the win. A very good matchup here, and this was a great showing for Sol. Afterwards, they shake hands, all four of them, Sol, Zarya, Bayley, and Lyra. They raise their arms afterwards and salute John Cena, and I think it was Sol and someone else maybe doing the "you can't see me" thing. I think Lyra did it too, and that's how that part of the show ended. And this was definitely a way to get Sol Ruca over, who they are going to push when she gets in the main roster. They play a video where Sheamus, Rob Van Dam, Corey Graves, Becky Lynch, Michael Hayes, Stu, Cameraman Stu, of course, Michael Cole, and Cody Rhodes all thank John Cena. Then there's a video in which where both The Undertaker and The Rock are paying tribute to John Cena. Both of them were featured on their own because they're, of course, bigger names. Then they show Michelle McCool, Mark Henry, Kurt Angle, Eve Torres, Trish Stratus, Rob Van Dam, and Sami Zayn in the crowd. And John Cena would interact with them later in his entrance. We'll get to that later. But they were all in the crowd getting good pops. Michael Cole then did some shout-outs to so many of the fellow announcers who are not there tonight, but many of them who called John Cena's matches. He mentions Taz, who of course called John Cena's first match with Michael Cole. I think that's one of the first times we've heard Taz's name on a WWE broadcast since he left the company in 2009. He mentions JBL. Of course, he gave John Cena the nickname Big Match John. Corey Graves. He mentioned Wade earlier, and then he, of course, at the end, he has to mention, as he needs to, Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. Both of them, of course, calling big matches in John Cena's career, especially in the early years. So that was definitely a cool moment. I'm glad Michael Cole did that. Naming all those announcers who all, not as much as him, but all of them played a part in John Cena calling some of his biggest moments and matches. Joe Tessitore and Stephanie McMahon are back on the panel. Stephanie says, "We can see you." She's getting a little emotional, you can tell. And then Javon Evans and Leon Slater were out next. And TNA actually got a nice shout out here. Then Dragon Lee was out to basically no pop. And then AJ Styles came out to a decent pop. And we get AJ Styles and Dragon Lee against Javon Evans and Leon Slater. As you'd expect with these four guys in the ring, the match was super fast paced. It was pretty actually short. It felt like the shortest match easily on the whole show. I didn't look at the run times, but to me this felt like the shortest match. There just too much happened. So much happened that it was hard to talk about it all because it happened so fast and it's impossible to write it all down without going back and watching the match again. But yeah, a lot happened. A lot of dives, as you'd expect. AJ actually botched a phenomenal forearm, but Leon Slater saved it by going for a pin right away. And by this time, I think both Javon Evans and Dragon Lee were on the outside, so it comes down to AJ and Leon. AJ then hits the Styles Clash on Leon Slater, pins him 1-2-3 for the win. Fun matchup here. It was quick, not too long. It was entertaining. There was a botch, but I still enjoyed the match. I thought it was good. Both teams embrace afterwards, and then they all salute John Cena. And that was really what we were getting for the whole show. Everyone saluting Cena, embracing afterwards. It's an exhibition between WWE main roster and NXT, as John Cena wanted. And then they showed like a montage of all these sports teams mentioning John Cena on their social media. And then they show a video in which where we see Kane, R-Truth, Miz, Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, Alexa Bliss, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Sami Zayn all thanking John Cena. Then they showed the female version of the WrestleMania 42 promo. This is, of course, where they're in the restaurant. Then they show a whole bunch of celebrities. This included Tom Brady, Vanessa Hudgens, who's a big WWE fan, Jelly Roll, and other celebrities paying tribute to John Cena. They show more celebrities in the crowd. Of course they do. It's TKO. And then they pan the crowd for some signs. And then we go back to Joe Tessitore and Stephanie McMahon on the panel. Of course, you can see now Stephanie is starting to get really emotional here. And she's meant so much to John Cena's career. Miz interrupted them in the ring. He's angry. He wasn't on the Last Time Is Now tour. And he was actually wearing the WrestleMania 27 gear, in which that was the show that he main evented WrestleMania against John Cena. Not one of John Cena's most memorable WrestleMania matches, to say the least, Miz. But then R-Truth interrupts him. He brings up the whole thing with Miz stealing the balls from the chamber, in which Adam Pearce was doing that draw or whatever, what do you call it, that thing where like they would choose the balls and like the winner would get in the tournament or whatever. But then it leads it reveals Miz stole the ball, and then he sees it, and then he like we don't see the name on the paper, but like we can see through it from the back, and you can tell it says Joe Hendry. That's when it leads to Joe Hendry appearing, and he really wanted a John Cena match. He wanted to wrestle him really badly. I'm really happy WWE didn't go with Mark Henry's idea. That would have been terrible, but Joe Hendry does appear on the show. They do he lays out Miz, and then him and R-Truth do a double "You Can't See Me" 10 knuckle shovel technically to the Miz, and then Joe Hendry chokeslams the Miz. R-Truth counts the 3. And as they're celebrating after that, the announcers announced that 19,232 people were in the arena tonight. And I believe this is the biggest gate ever for an arena show. That certainly doesn't surprise me because this is such a big show. It's John Cena's farewell. And practically all the major PLEs, the bigger ones, take place in stadiums now. So this doesn't surprise me. This was the highest grossing arena show ever. And I mean, they had they did have a sellout. I think it's like over 19,000 people. Practically, they sold every single seat in the arena, and the only ones they couldn't sell out were the entrance ramp. It was taken by the ramp and the ring and everything. So it was a full sellout tonight. They promoted the next Saturday night's main event, which is in Montreal next month, and then Joe Tessitore and Stephanie McMahon are on the panel for a final time. Both of them say, "Thank you, Cena." And that's really how they signed off from the panel, the two of them. And then I had to mention this. as I said, there was that heartfelt tribute farewell video that WWE produced. They released it on their YouTube channel, and I've watched it multiple times, as I've stated. I think since Thursday. And I talked about last night on my SmackDown review, and then this was the one they played right before the main event. It was so well done. I just loved it. It was so emotional. Like, there wasn't people talking. It was just wrestlers and people close to John Cena, people on WWE staff, Stu, of course, which we'll talk about. Showing their respect. Some of them had notes saying "Thank you, Cena," like papers. "Thank you, Cena." "Let's go, Cena." Hustle, loyalty, respect. Others did the salute. Some did the "You can't see me" and some of his other poses. And it was so well done. I just loved it, man. To me, that's probably my favorite. That might be one of my favorite WWE videos, production pieces that they've ever done. I just loved it. You had Sami Zayn, Otis, Stu the cameraman, Solo Sikoa, The Miz, R-Truth, Drew McIntyre, who appeared first, and he kind of waved the camera away when we first saw him, Becky Lynch, Rusev, Kevin Owens, Braun Breaker, Maxine Dupree, Shinsuke Nakamura, Jey Uso, Logan Paul, Corey Graves, Rhea Ripley, Natalya, Wade Barrett, Asuka and Kairi Sane, Bayley, Lyra Valkyria, Roxanne Perez, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Tommaso Ciampa, Triple H and Bruce Pritchard from Gorilla, Carmelo Hayes, Word Life, Chelsea Green, Nia Jax, Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Alexa Bliss and Lily, LA Knight, Charlotte Flair, Drew McIntyre, Michael Cole, The Miz, CM Punk, Stephanie McMahon, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, who says, "I can see you," and Roman Reigns, who appears at the end, giving a final salute to John Cena. That was everyone in the video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. You have to see it. No pun intended. It was incredible. And then right after that video ended up airing, right after, Gunther comes out. Of course, the fans hate him. He makes his entrance. And then after that, there was a long pause. A long pause, to say the least. Then the lights go off. And then John Cena's music plays. We see it all black, it's an all black screen, and then we see in bold white letters, John Cena. And then, like this, the SummerSlam entrance, the entire arena lights up in his colors. John Cena, his music plays. We hear "The Time Is Now," maybe for the last time. Not the last time we'll hear the song, but definitely the last time for him as an active performer. He comes out. John Cena takes the camera and he actually puts it on Stu as the ultimate sign of respect. And then he gives it back. He says his final words before saluting. And then he sprints to the ring, making his final entrance. He embraces a whole bunch of the legends at ringside. Kevin Owens was there, Sami Zayn, Booker T, Trish Stratus, Eve Torres, Michelle McCool, Kurt Angle. Of course, that was his first match. Rob Van Dam. Did I mention Booker T already? So many of them. I don't know if I named them all, but he's embracing all of them there. Really nice moment. And then he gets in the ring. He does the classic pose after he takes his shirt off. And it's, man, that right when he did it, I thought, oh, that's it. That's the last time we're ever going to get to see it. After that, Lillian Garcia does the ring introductions. First, Gunther is introduced. Of course, it's all booze. And then she introduces John Cena for the final time. Her voice was shaking. It was cracking, to be honest, as she announced the greatest of all time, never seen 17 for one final time, the last real champion, John Cena. Then for the last time, John Cena tossed his hat and he tossed his shirt into the crowd and the bell rang. The main event began. John Cena versus Gunther. So, at first, the first thing that stood out there were a lot of "fuck you, Gunther" chants, which are centered. I'm thinking, oh great, now they're gonna ruin it for all the people watching on TV or on YouTube or on Peacock, wherever you're watching. I mean, now they're gonna censor the whole match. They're gonna ruin it, but eventually they died out. Gunther got the heat early on. Then John Cena actually made a rally early. He hit the two shoulder blocks. Then he hit the spin out power bomb, the 5-knuckle shuffle. But then Gunther reverses the AA. John Cena would eventually reverse Gunther, and he would lock in the STF for the final time. Last time he would ever have that submission in. And Gunther got out of it eventually. Not in the ropes, he just got out. And then after that is when he really got the heat for a while. He kept making the referee check on John Cena as if it was an I Quit match. He hit a series of clotheslines, but eventually John Cena ducked after one of them. And then he begins a second rally, hits the shoulder blocks, and then he drops the 5-knuckle shuffle. But then Gunther gets out of the AA again, and he goes for the sleeper hold, but Cena won't go out. Eventually, after he got out, they're both on the outside of the ring. Gunther throws John Cena into the steel steps, and then he drags the other set up against the announce booth. He clears up the announce table, and he goes for a powerbomb onto John Cena, trying to powerbomb off the steps, the top of the steps, through the announce booth. But John Cena counters, and he hits an AA, sending Gunther crashing through the announce booth. That was a great moment, a great spot. It looked like a nasty bump that Gunther took. I'm not going to lie. It looked pretty painful. John Cena throws Gunther back into the ring. He goes for a cover, but Gunther kicks out. And then John Cena hit the top rope, big leg drop. Gunther kicked out. I think he hit one AA earlier, I believe, but Gunther got out of that. But then after the second AA, after the leg drop, he goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle. But this time, and as I said, he dropped the final 5-knuckle shuffle. He went for it again here, but Gunther he reversed. He hit a super kick. Then he followed it up with a power bomb. John Cena kicks out. I think Gunther went for a splash. He didn't. Yeah, he went for a splash from the top rope. But John Cena got up and he hit an avalanche AA from the top. And I thought, okay, please let this be. I really wanted John Cena to win. It'd be a great moment. It's over. This is John Cena's best chance. 1, 2. But damn it, Gunther kicks out. After this, they did the classic John Cena dueling blow spots. The crowd, the boo, yeah, of course, they're cheering, yeah, for John Cena, boo for Gunther. The crowd chanted for Super Cena as Gunther was locking in the sleeper. And it went on for a while. Eventually, Cena gets out. He hits another AA, and I thought, okay, this is his best chance. It's over here. 1, 2, Gunther kicked out, and right away, I knew this is it. Gunther's going to win this match. After he kicked out, he really immediately locked in the sleeper hold again. Cena begins fading. The referee checks John Cena's arm. It falls once, it falls twice, and if it falls for a third time, the match is over. But John Cena raised his fists. He powered back up. Unfortunately, Gunther started pummeling John Cena in like the neck and the chest with elbows. Then he puts a sleeper hold on one more time. And I'm thinking, all right, John Cena's going to pass out. This is how the match is going to end. No. Instead, John Cena smirks. He's smirking at the camera, and he just taps out. And the match ended. John Cena submitted. He gave up, unfortunately. And Gunther got the biggest win of his career. Okay. I was thinking for sure, after that, John Cena is just going to pass out. That's fine. Gunther wins. I was expecting Gunther to win. I predicted he would win. But I was not expecting John Cena to tap out. And I thought that, they teased it on TV, to be fair. They were saying Gunther was saying he was going to make John Cena submit, make him give up, and he did. I thought John Cena was just going to pass out, in which he would never give up, but he would pass out from the sleeper hold and Gunther would win. I thought When he smirked, he was going to do the "You Can't See Me" one last time, then pass out, and Gunther would win the match. No, he actually tapped out. And after that, after he was submitted, they showed a whole bunch of shots of the crowd, and they were stunned. They were furious. There were tears. There was one girl crying. People had their hands on their head, and this was almost reminiscent. It was almost like Groundhog Day in a way. It was so similar to when Brock Lesnar broke the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania 30. The reaction of the fans was similar to the one we saw here. Absolute devastation. They did not want this to happen. They really wanted John Cena to win. And I felt bad for them, man. Like, I felt bad for the kids. I felt bad for some of the fans who grew up with him, who spent so much money coming to the show to say their goodbyes and wanted to see Super Cena. I know people on the internet used to give him that nickname as like a way to disparage him in ways, but they wanted to see Super Cena, him beat the bad guy, be triumphant one last time, and ride off into the sunset. Unfortunately, they did not get that ending, and they were devastated by this. Gunther walks away. He leaves John Cena sitting in the middle of the ring, and the fans are so mad, man. They are pissed. They're chanting bullshit. They are furious. I'm thinking, oh no, this is not good. They should be, praising Cena, giving him a standing ovation. And that's what happened. As John Cena gets up, the fans chant, "Thank you, Cena," which was great. He stood in the ring and thanked everyone. He said, "That's all I got." He bowed as the crowd applauded him. And then there was a lot of boos. That's when Triple H came out with Stephanie. There was also Shawn Michaels, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Bruce Pritchard, The Undertaker, a whole bunch of producers backstage and other wrestlers in the locker room. All of them come out, and they are booing, particularly at Triple H. They are so mad. They are chanting, "You fucked up," at Triple H. It's pretty bad for a while, but then the focus gets back on Cena. People cheer. Cody Rhodes and CM Punk are champions, both of them. Cody WWE champion, CM Punk World Heavyweight champion. They get in the ring and they put their belts on John Cena's shoulders. The crowd applauds for him. He is their champion. He is forever their champion. The champ is here one last time. He holds up the titles as they chant, "Thank you, Cena." The chants were thundering now. It's a really good moment now. He played with the crowd. He hoisted the titles up around the ring. And then he eventually hands the belts back to Cody and Punk. Then he interacted with Triple H. He hugs him as Triple H stands on the apron. And the fans boo like crazy. They are so mad at Triple H. He just smiles at it. Then he pointed to the big screen, and we got a nice final video package that played. And this was one where it was more intimate. It was more personal. Not as many people talk, but people that are close to John. A lot of footage was used from documentaries. They have people thanking John, and while they aired a tribute video package, we actually see John Cena watching it, so we see his reactions. It's in picture-in-picture, which was really nice. His mom and dad were featured, and then it recapped John Cena's greatest moments in his career, some of our most fond memories of him. It featured comments from Drew McIntyre, The Undertaker, Triple H, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, The Miz, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk. They were all shown. And then he made an appearance, technically, on the screen. That was Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He appeared on a WWE broadcast for the first time. And I don't know how long, since he's almost 2 years. It's now been since he stepped down from the company. And all I thought was, I want to see how John Cena reacts. Like, right when I saw Vince, I immediately looked at John Cena. And during the picture-in-picture, like right almost a few seconds after Vince was first shown, John Cena begins weeping. He begins crying in the ring, and I just felt, oh man, that really went hard, man. He's really close to Vince McMahon. He loves that man. Vince did so much for John Cena. He's not anywhere. He's not even close to the person he is. He doesn't have any of the success that he has right now. He is not John Cena without Vince McMahon, and he knows that, and he begins crying. And that was a real raw moment, and it just shows that John Cena, no matter what he says publicly, in his heart, he truly wanted Vince McMahon to be at his final match. And I'm sure this hurt Vince McMahon, because I know it really hurt him that he wasn't there for when they were paying tribute to Hulk Hogan after he passed away earlier this year. And I'm sure this hurt him as well, that he couldn't be there for John Cena's farewell. But yeah, that was a real moment there. John Cena, he was emotional when he saw Vince, and he really loves that guy. We see more moments of the fans cheering for him, and we see him interacting with the kids, of course. And then Cody Rhodes was actually the last one to speak. And then we hear John Cena's voice, and he says how he grew up in West Newbury, Massachusetts, and he's still a kid. We get to see that iconic photo of him as a kid holding up the paper belt. And then it ends with a graphic reading, "Thank you, John." That was it. And I think the picture is him celebrating as the new champion from WrestleMania this past year, 17 times. And thank you, John. That was it, man. Oh man, that was real. That's it. After that, we're back in the ring. John Cena takes 4 bows on each side of the ring. Then he salutes the fans. As he's surrounded by the roster and fans chanting, "Thank you, Cena," John takes off his shoes, his wristbands, and his armband. He puts them all in the middle of the ring, leaving them there. And then he walks out of the ring. He walks up the ramp as everyone is clapping for him. Everyone that's part of the WWE, that's there by ringside, and all the fans, everyone giving him a nice, beautiful, well-deserved final standing ovation for a tremendous career, an unforgettable career. As he's walking up the ramp, he touches everyone's hand. All the fans had their hands stuck out, and he walks up the entrance ramp. Then he turns around. He soaks in the crowd for one final time. He took a final bow. Then he raised his hand for a salute. And as he had his hand raised, he said, "It's been a pleasure serving you for all these years. Thank you." And then he finished by giving his final salute. He turned around, walked through the entrance curtain, and the show ended. John Cena, it's been a pleasure watching you for all these years. Thank you. I think all wrestling fans, it's been a trend all over social media. WWE has promoted it. We're all, no matter what we feel about the ending, how we feel about it, I'm going to talk about it later, especially when we get to the post show, but no matter how we feel about how the match ended, we can all agree on one thing. Thank you, Cena. So we get to the post show, and the fans are mad, man. Right away, Jackie Redmond is interviewing Jey Uso, and he's just so dumb. Why'd I have to rant about Jey Uso tonight? I'm thinking, what? They had Gunther tap out to this guy, and that actually made me mad about the finish. When I saw Jey Uso, I'm thinking they really had Gunther lose to him. Okay, that actually made me a little worried, because now I don't trust WWE to follow up on Gunther on this major win, because they had him tap out to Jey Uso, and it makes me think if they were serious about pushing Gunther as this monster heel, he wouldn't have lost to Jey Uso in the way he did at WrestleMania. And then she goes to Cody Rhodes, who is by the ring, and he's crying. He's very emotional. She interviews Cody, and it goes on for a while. He's just staring at John Cena's gear in the ring, the shoes, the wristbands, the armband. I really believed Cody, man. He's just an emotional guy. And then they go to the panel. Big E, Peter, Rosenberg, whatever his name is, and Joe Tessitore on the panel. The Miz joined him. He was like in character and out of character in a way. He talked for a while. CM Punk joins the panel. Of course, he puts over John Cena. And then Triple H joins the panel, and everyone hated him. They were chanting everything under the sun. You fucked up. I think they're chanting, fuck you. They think they even chanted LA Knight at him to piss him off, and he just took it all in. He was explaining why, we're giving back to the business. I'll say it right now. I think John Cena wanted to tap out to Gunther. I really think John Cena wanted to put Gunther over as much as he possibly could. And I don't think in any way it was meant to disrespect John Cena. I really think they wanted to put Gunther over as much as possible. And John Cena believes this is his best way of giving back to the business. So that's why I think they did it. So I don't begrudge them. If it were up to me, I would not have John Cena tap out. I just think John Cena means so much to so many people. To never give up, hustle, loyalty, respect. He can't tap out. Him losing, I would have booked him to lose, to be honest. I understand. I get it. Especially someone like Gunther, who I view as like a top heel. I understand him beating John Cena. Even though, as a fan, I was absolutely rooting for John Cena to win the match. I understood why he lost. I do not like him tapping out. He should have passed out. If John Cena, like as I said, he does the "you can't see me" as he's smirking, then he just passes out. It's over. Gunther wins. You know what? That's fine. Him tapping out, no. Nobody wanted to see him tap out. And I don't know if it does much for Gunther, to be honest, because I don't trust them with Gunther because of the stuff with Jey Uso this past year at WrestleMania. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, if they were serious as pushing him as this major heel, they wouldn't have done that. The thing with Gunther is, I mentioned the Undertaker streak ending with Brock Lesnar breaking it. That was a similar moment because I think it was used as a way to get Roman Reigns over. Brock Lesnar would beat the Undertaker streak. It becomes a hated heel, a monster heel. Then Roman Reigns slays the beast and becomes a top babyface. And here I can see it similarly. Gunther defeats John Cena. He retires John Cena, makes him submit in his last match, makes him give up. Then for the next year, he's going to go around saying, I retired John Cena. And then eventually someone maybe like Braun Breaker can slay the beast or slay Gunther and win the title, and he becomes the next big babyface. That would be good, but I don't trust them to do that because they haven't booked Gunther well with the Jey Uso stuff, and it just makes me think if they were serious as pushing him as this monster heel, like he wouldn't, they wouldn't have booked that program with Jey at WrestleMania in that match and the way they booked it. That's the thing that gives me trepidation here is the way they handle that. So with John, him tapping out, I just don't want to see him tap out. The fans don't want to see him tap out. Some would have just been pissed. Some just wanted him to win either way, and they were going to be angry about it any way they would have done it. I mean, I'm sure there are people, like if John Cena won, they would have said, oh, Cena wins, LOL, Super Cena. There would have been some people who would have done that, but if he passes out, I don't think there would be as much outrage from the fans in the arena or the people online as much as there is now because he actually tapped out to Gunther. But that's what they did. They had John Cena submit in his final match. Man, what else am I going to say? This is it. This is really it for John Cena. I don't know the next time we'll see him. We'll see him again on WWE programming. He will be in a suit and tie, as he said. We will no longer see the jorts, the colorful T-shirts, the wristbands, the armband, the cap. We're never going to see that again. The sneakers. But we will see John Cena. We'll see him in a suit. I'm looking forward to seeing his next appearance in the WWE. Hopefully he goes in the Hall of Fame. at WrestleMania. I think that'd be great. I think he's someone that after he retires, immediately he should go into the Hall of Fame, and hopefully they can do it at WrestleMania in a few months. I think that'd be great. But he's done as a wrestler. That was the last time we will ever see John Cena wrestle a match. He's not coming back. I get it. It's wrestling. Wrestlers are never actually retired. We've all seen it a million times. I'm telling you, John Cena is done. He is done. I've seen a whole bunch of interviews he's given. The one with Pat McAfee, Tom Rinaldi, Chris Van Vliet. Like, he's made it clear. This is it. John Cena is not coming back out of retirement. He's not going to wrestle. He's not going to cave to the Saudis, who I'm sure will offer him millions anyways. He's not going to do it. He's done. He has a lot of opportunities outside of wrestling. He doesn't need the money. Tonight was the last time we'll ever see John Cena wrestle. And it's going to be off a loss to Gunther, unfortunately, in which he tapped out. But that was it, and that's his way of giving back to the business. I just hope they do John Cena good. They do good by him by pushing Gunther as this monster heel, giving him the belt again, making him an unstoppable force. I hope they do that because he's going to have nuclear heat. And if they're smart, they have him open Raw and just get, hated by the fans for like 30 minutes straight. That's how I'd open Raw at least. But that's it. It's over now. John Cena is officially retired from the WWE. What an incredible career. What an incredible career. I talked so much about it when I talked about his career and legacy. This video this past week. Man, what else can I say? I can't believe it, man. This is it. It's so hard to accept. I don't think it's even, really settled in yet that John Cena is retired. WWE already, they've moved him to the alumni section on their main page on the roster. So that it hasn't really sunk in yet. Maybe it's because the ending was so shocking that it's taken a while for me to really accept it, and eventually it'll sink in. Maybe tomorrow morning, but it's a surreal moment, man. What am I gonna say? John Cena's retired from the WWE. Hustle, loyalty, respect. Never give up. You can't see me. The time is now. The last time was tonight. John Cena, just what an incredible career. And if I can say one thing, as a fan, I am someone who got to witness John Cena's debut. I remember seeing him debut on SmackDown, June 27th, 2002, against Kurt Angle. Now I got to see him retire December 13th, 2025 against Gunther, starting its main events. And as someone who got to witness your career from beginning to end, all I can say is thank you, John Cena. I got to witness all 17 of his world title victories. All I can think of is so many of them were met with extreme polarization. So maybe it's only fitting that on his last match, the end of his career, it's met with polarization. I think that's fitting. It's almost perfect in a way. I think he wanted it exactly like this, to be honest. This man deserves all the success he's getting. We hear his voice in commercials all the time. He's had a tremendously successful career in Hollywood, and he deserves it. He's entertained us as a wrestler for almost a quarter of a century. That's how long it's been. It's just been an incredible ride, and all I can say as someone who got to see it from beginning to end, I'm going to end with this. Thank you, Cena.